Yo, yo, yo. Hey, yo, what's good to all my heroes and villains out there? You know who it is. It's your boy, LC. Guys, welcome to another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. So, that being said, let's go ahead and check out the last and final video. Now, this video here, go ahead and get it ready.
What is going on, Cos?
Okay, this video here is Spider-Man Brand New Day full 9-part plot leaks. Okay, supposed. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and check that out as well. And then when we're done with that, I want to read a small article here when it comes to it's part of the Spider-Man movie. It's when it comes to the Scorpion, which is going to be also in the new Spider-Man movie. So first, let's go ahead and hear out Warren over at the Cosmic Wonder, see what he has to say about these plot leaks, and then I'll go ahead and read a quick article when it comes to the Scorpion. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and check this out. All right.
Cosmic Crew, thanks for stopping by the channel. Today we have an alleged Spider-Man Brand New Day full plot leak from the beginning to the end. This is broken off into 9 different parts, and I will say most of everything that is on here we have heard from an insider report, or we've actually confirmed because we've seen the leaked trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day that leaked not too long ago. Now, when it comes to the official trailer, I will say Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus just reported this yesterday. There's been some movement from Sony, hearing a trailer release may be imminent. No date yet, as far as I know, but the recent movements make me think it could be within a matter of days. Time will tell. So we've been talking a lot about the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're probably going to put at least a spot for Spider-Man at the Super Bowl, or maybe they're just going to save it for Avengers Doomsday. But we have been hearing for a while that the full trailer should be actually coming before the Super Bowl. We've also heard they've been redoing it because it leaked before, so they're kind of making a different version. We'll have to wait and see, but keep an eye out, and if we hear anything else, we'll be sure to update you. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now let's go into this leak. I gotta say, if this is how Spider-Man Brand New Day is gonna play out, I'm personally here for it. I really like this, but you'll have to let me know what you think after we go over it. So part 1. Peter is a ghost after No Way Home. He saves the city and no one knows his identity. Which makes sense because after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, yeah, no one knows who Peter Parker is. Several Spider-Man battles will be shown. Remember, this is part 1 in the beginning. Boomerang, Rhino, Chameleon, Tarantula, Ramrod. I think we've heard about all of these appearing from insider reports in the beginning sort of montage for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to see what Spider-Man has been up to, and to do that, they're going to show us Spider-Man fighting a lot of different villains. So this lines up. Then it says, these are brief scenes explaining what he did. Peter focuses on being Spider-Man. He neglects his personal life, and we've heard this before as well. He believes that MJ is better off without him, and he believes that Ned doesn't actually need him. So throughout all of this, dealing with a lot of different emotions, Peter starts to struggle with his powers. This is something we've heard a lot of recently, and it's also something that we have seen with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So they're going to kind of be doing the same thing, except they're taking it up a lot of different notches, as you'll see. So his emotional instability affects his powers. His webbing begins to become organic, which is very interesting. And it lines up with what we heard before with Spider-Man No Way Home, because he found out that Tobey's webbing was organic and it just comes out of him, right? We had that whole scene about it. But now, apparently his body is beginning to change and his webbing becomes organic, and factors in his body begin to change. So part 2, the organization Damage Control appears. And we just recently have seen some Wonder Man trailers where Damage Control is there. They are after super-powered individuals. They made that very clear with the Wonder Man trailer. They're going to make it very clear here as well. They are after people with superpowers, and that comes in more in just a bit. So Damage Control appears, and the government wants to control mutants. We're about to go into the mutant saga. We're really only 3 movies away. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars, in which Doomsday we get obviously the mutants, the old ones, Fox ones coming back. But in the New Mutant Saga, after Secret Wars, we're going to begin with this, and it seems like Marvel's setting up a lot here with Wonder Man and Spider-Man. They believe Spider-Man should be controlled. Department of Damage Control believes Spider-Man should be controlled, which makes sense. Sadie Sink plays Jean Grey. Now, this is something we've been hearing a lot of lately. Hasn't been confirmed, but it does seem very likely at this point in time, based on what a lot of the insiders have said. Jean is pursued by Damage Control, and Damage Control discovers that she is a mutant, so they want her. And Jean believes that Spider-Man is reckless. So when Spider-Man appears, everything gets worse for her, basically. And which is why in the leaked trailer that we got, we hear her tell Spider-Man to stay out of her way. And then she says, or it won't just be your friends who forget Peter Parker. So she clearly knows what's up. And that line makes me believe that she has some type of psychic abilities to make other people forget, pointing to her being Jean Grey. Just saying. So Spider-Man appears and everything gets worse for Jean, but Jean knows that Damage Control is after Spider-Man, so she wants Spider-Man to stay away from her because she doesn't want Damage Control to find her. Makes total sense. The Punisher and Jean work together, and I love this, and we've heard a lot about this at this point in time. It's basically confirmed to be true. It says they both want to expose Damage Control, and from what we've heard about Damage Control, they are basically torturing people. The government has kind of given them the ability to do what they want because the government is afraid of superpowered individuals. So they capture them and they experiment on them and they torture them. So the Punisher exposing them makes a lot of sense. Him wanting to expose them. And same with Jean. If she's a mutant, it makes sense, right? And the Punisher protects Jean. That's what it says for the end of part 2. So part 3, Tombstone is the true villain. He wants to destabilize the city. Tombstone finances the group The Hand, that's basically confirmed to be in the movie. And it continues and it says The Hand is made up of ninjas wearing red suits. We have seen that in the leaked teaser trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. This part is confirmed. It wasn't confirmed that Tombstone is going to be the true villain, but we have heard insiders reports stating that. So I do believe that is probably going to be the case. That's the quick part of part 3. Going into part 4. Damage Control is transporting Scorpion. The Hand attacks Damage Control. The objective is to free Scorpion, but Spider-Man tries to stop them. Here, Punisher helps Spider-Man. The convoy arrives at the prison. Right at the entrance, the convoy crashes. After the crash, the prisoner escapes. The Hand attacks the entire prison because the Hand wants to free more prisoners. Spider-Man fights many ninjas, and Spider-Man starts to have problems with his powers. The Punisher saves him from the ninjas, and they both manage to escape alive. We have seen this online already. Just going to point that out. We've seen the convoy crash. We've seen Scorpion escaping from prison. It makes sense that Tombstone would want to break him out. This all seems to line up so far. We've also seen the Tank and Punisher, everything like that on scene. This all works out. This all lines up. Part 5. Peter's powers continue to worsen. That's pretty much going to be like the main thing of this movie, it sounds like. That Peter's really struggling. He's struggling kind of with everything, his emotions and everything, being alone now, no more Aunt May, no more Tony Stark, Ned, everybody happy's gone, MJ's gone. So he's struggling, and that makes his powers worse. His powers become increasingly unstable, and Peter's body undergoes a metamorphosis, and Peter ends up inside a cocoon. We've heard a lot of insiders talk about this, and it did seem like we saw something like this happen inside or in the Spider-Man Brand New Day leaked trailer. He does kind of go almost to like a coma-like state, and that's probably the metamorphosis, the cocoon that people have been talking about. And it says it's a web-like cocoon like the comics that's all generated by Peter's emotions. And the film touches on themes such as loneliness, stress, and anxiety. This affects Peter Parker, and Peter seeks help from an Avenger, Professor Bruce Banner. And Bruce Banner tells him that he will create a serum. Now, keep in mind, Peter knows who Bruce Banner is, obviously, and that he's the Hulk. Everybody should know that. And him being a professor makes a ton of sense. Banner doesn't know who Peter Parker is, but he does know who Spider-Man is. Keep that in mind, right? No one forgot who Spider-Man was. And we even learned that at the end of No Way Home as J. Jonah Jameson was talking about Spider-Man and saying that, They don't know his identity. He should reveal himself. So everyone still knows who Spider-Man is. So Bruce should know Spider-Man's a good guy. He fought with the Avengers in Infinity War and Endgame, right? And he was a buddy of Tony's, Iron Man's. So it makes sense that Bruce would want to help him and that Peter would tell him kind of everything that happened, I think. Probably like, hey, I worked with Doctor Strange, blah, blah, blah. This stuff happened. He had to do a spell, but I am Spider-Man. Bruce would totally go for that, it seems like. So Banner tells him that he's going to create a serum for him. That's what Banner does. Creates those serums, but he needs time. And that brings us to part 6. Tombstone wants to eliminate Spider-Man. Spider-Man interferes with his plans. Surprise, surprise. But Tombstone ends up enhancing Scorpion's powers and tries to eliminate Spider-Man. This is what villains in movies are for, to try to get the hero. And according to this description, there are some very impressive fight scenes. And it is reportedly, according to this leak, Spider-Man's best battle. So the best battle that we've actually ever seen from Spider-Man. I'm assuming they are just talking about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So out of all the movies we've had so far, this is reportedly going to be his best battle. We'll have to wait and see about that. In the end, Spider-Man defeats Scorpion, but Peter's power becomes even more unstable, which allows Scorpion to escape. So going into part 7, it says Bruce Banner is very stressed. Peter puts pressure on him with the serum, and Damage Control is also searching for the Hulk. This is very interesting. When they say searching for the Hulk, I think they probably mean something along the lines of, because they know it's Bruce Banner, right? So it's like how, if he's a professor, you just go to where he teaches. But I think it's more along the lines of they are waiting for the Hulk to come out so that they can then jump on him and say, Bruce Banner's dangerous, the Hulk's dangerous. Like, we have to grab him, take him under our custody and make sure he doesn't do anything. From there, they can experiment and try to probably take his blood and, do more serum and stuff like that. That's what I assume that they would want to do. Or maybe they're portraying the Hulk and Bruce Banner as two different people. Maybe Bruce says, hey, I got rid of the Hulk. I'm human form now, who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. But it says that due to the stress of the Damage Control looking for him, Spider-Man pressuring him for the serum, the Gray Hulk emerges. And this is something that Daniel RPK recently reported, that the version of the Hulk that we're going to get in this movie is the Gray Hulk. So Gray Hulk emerges and Banner loses control. Gray Hulk begins destroying everything. Damage Control tries to capture him, but the Punisher helps him. So does Spider-Man. And this is probably that scene that we've heard about for a while, the scene with the Punisher, Hulk, and Spider-Man. And we've even seen some leaked photos and videos from the set that shows Banner in a stretcher. So that's probably after the battle. And I hope it's not the DODC who takes him. It says Jean appears and calms Banner with her power. Banner regains control over the Hulk, and just then, Peter loses control, and in front of everybody, he transforms into a spider. This is interesting. We've heard a lot about this. We've heard some conflicting reports, like Alex Perez of the Cosmic Circus says man spider is not going to be a thing. Perhaps they don't go full man spider, but they do some type of metamorphosis here. Maybe he just loses control, but this says he grows additional arms. 2 eyes grow, which is going to be crazy. Basically, he mutates into a spider like in the 90s series. That would be certainly something to see on the screen. We'll have to wait and see. It says Jean enters Peter's mind. And this part we have actually heard about as well. Jean enters Peter's mind. Jean explains that he can't just be Spider-Man. It's important to also be Peter Parker. After this internal struggle, Peter calms down. The mutation begins to fade. Bruce Banner manages to finish the serum. They manage to stabilize Peter's mutation. Jean continues her journey separately. Jean thanks them for trusting her. Okay. I like this. We're not at the end yet, just about at the end. The next 2 parts are short, but I do like this because it doesn't make Jean the main character, but it makes her a very important part. And I never wanted Sadie Sink to be the villain. I always wanted her to be a hero. This is kind of makes her an antagonist, kind of. And Punisher as well, right? Some people could say, depending on your views. But I like this because it's a side story for the Punisher and Jean that I really like, and it's setting up something really big for the future of the MCU. The DODC is going to be a big part of the mutant saga, and that makes sense. They're going to be the ones hunting mutants. So I like this. It sets up the future. But continuing, part 8, Peter decides to look for MJ, but MJ has a new boyfriend. Harry Osborn. Of course, this isn't confirmed to be true, but we have heard this before. We've heard reports about this. And again, as far as setting up the future goes with Spider-Man, I think this is a great way to go. We need that. We need the Osborns in the MCU. So the next 2 Spider-Man films to focus on that, I think would be really cool. Peter tells MJ what happened at No Way Home. Peter understands that he can be more than just Spider-Man, and then he also looks for his friend, Ned. We'll see what happens there. Ultimately, eventually, somewhere down the line, Peter and MJ get back together, right? They end up together because it's either going to end with a happy ending for them and maybe Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen come, or he might die. I think those are the 2 options for Tom Holland ending his Spider-Man run.
Yo, I wonder if Ned is ever going to turn into the Hobgoblin. Are they ever going to make that happen? You know what I mean? Let's say part 2 you have Venom, and then in part 3 you have Hobgoblin, because Ned turns into Hobgoblin. I wonder if they're ever gonna have that character. We're gonna see Ned do that, but
we'll have to wait and see. But the final scene, part 9, is said to be Tombstone meeting with a buyer. They're in a very dark place. Tombstone is guarded by Scorpion, and the buyer slides a sealed vial to Tombstone, and inside the vial is the symbiote. We've heard that the symbiote is going to play an important role in the future Spider-Man films, not this one particularly. That's coming from Daniel RPK. So them setting it up in this film makes a lot of sense. This doesn't say Peter Parker dies, anything like that, because there's the theory out there that he might die and the symbiote might bring him back. I still think a symbiote is going to attach to Peter Parker in Secret Wars, because that's what happens in the comics, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But overall, I really like this. I think it's really cool. It's supposed to give us some really great action with Spider-Man, the best we've ever seen. It brings, hopefully, if this is real, if this is accurate, it brings Jean Grey into the MCU, which I think is great. The Punisher gets to do his thing, and recently John Bernthal did say he's just as violent as he would be anywhere else in Spider-Man Brand New Day. They did not tone him down, so I love that. And we get an emotional movie with Spider-Man, which I think is good for him growing, especially after all the stuff he's been through. I feel like this is a good direction. And there's a lot of villains in this, but you get classic Spider-Man villains like Tombstone and Scorpion. So I like this. And I would say there's a really good chance of this all being true. I would really say that. We'll have to wait and see. It's not confirmed, of course. Take it with a grain of salt. It's fun to talk about this, of course. But I'd say at least probably 85% of this is accurate. But let me know your thoughts. Would you like this? Would this be a good Spider-Man movie for you? Let me know in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man, Avengers Doomsday, or just Marvel news in general. And you can also find us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
all right. So look, check this out. Right here. Where it says Tombstone looks at Scorpion. So, oh, you can't see it right here. Let me go ahead now and mute this right here. Okay. So you see? So he gets the symbiote. Oh, let me move it out of the way. It says once he gets the Tombstone gets the vial. Oh Lord. Said once Tombstone gets the vial with the symbiote inside, Tombstone looks at Scorpion. So now he has the Venom symbiote in the vial, and then he's basically looking over at Scorpion, right? The reason I say that is because a while back, I'm gonna show you guys this right here. A while back, Michael Mandos, which is the actor that's playing Mac Gargan, which is the Scorpion, on his Instagram, he had posted some pictures, and then he also posted a picture of a specific comic book. Okay, now check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and read this small article right here. Check this out. Let's go to it. Check this. So, Michael Mando had already confirmed that he will be suiting up as Scorpion in the new movie. Previously taken to Instagram to post a selfie of Gargan's Scorpion neck tattoo. Now, the Better Call Saul had shared a sneak peek of himself in the makeup chair as Gargan's mangled look, like when his face got messed up. The result of his run-in with the Staten Island Ferry is created through prosthetics and makeups. So this is the Scorpion. If you guys recognize him from the first Spider-Man movie, and then he was also at the end credit scene. Right? Now check this out. He posted 2 pictures. He posted this, and then he posted a comic book. Check this out. Mando also offered this stinger of a teaser as Kevin Maguire's variant cover of 2008, The Amazing Spider-Man number 573, below, which shows Matt Gargan's Scorpion being overtaken by the Venom symbiote. Check this out. Check that out. So, that means that Tombstone is going to give that Venom symbiote to Scorpion, and it's going to attach to him. Now, I'm sure that's going to be like an end credit scene or something like that. I doubt we're going to see Venom. I doubt we're going to see Scorpion suited up with the Venom symbiote, you know what I mean, whooping Spider-Man's ass. But I think this is just a teaser for the second part, you know what I mean, for part 2. Because I'm sure that part 2, we're going to have Venom. Like an official Venom character. You know what I mean? Like Eddie Brock. You know? But this is crazy. He shared this on his Instagram. So that's what I wanted to go ahead and show you guys. That at some point, also, not only Eddie Brock that turns into Venom, also the Scorpion does. He gets a Venomized Scorpion. So that is crazy. That would be dope as hell. So that being said, this was dope. This was awesome. This has been another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. I'm your boy, LC. Until next time, guys. Peace.